Right now we live in a time where pretty much anything we can think of doing is possible. There are so many different ways that we can choose to live our lives, so many different career paths that we can take, so many different lifestyles that we can choose to live, and that is an incredible thing. But I also know that so many people struggle with that level of immense possibility. It can definitely become very overwhelming trying to figure out what you want to spend the rest of your life doing. This is something that personally I have kind of not struggled with the most. But I'm kind of thinking that potentially the fact that those ideas came to me so easily, that might make me just the perfect person to share some advice on how to find your own vision, how to get clear on your vision, how to actually get to the point where you can start manifesting what you want. Because if you don't know what you want, it's pretty hard to manifest it into your life. So that is what we're talking about today. Okay, so the first thing that I have found extremely helpful is paying attention to what I'm daydreaming about. If maybe you're not the type of person to daydream naturally, I highly recommend actually setting aside time, say in the morning or in the evening, depending on when you feel the most creative normally, and just like sit down and really just dream without limits. Try to just allow your mind to wander wherever it wanders naturally. When you catch yourself in that daydreaming state, try to stay in it a little bit longer and just really pick up on every single detail that you're daydreaming about. Like maybe you're doing a certain job, maybe you're with a certain person, maybe you are in a certain environment, certain location in the world, doing a certain activity. Just try to get as specific as possible. And after, I definitely recommend just taking some quick notes, so then you can kind of refer back to what you were daydreaming about. This is what happens when I'm passionate about what I'm talking about. My mind goes faster than my mouth and it gets messy. And a huge part of daydreaming is getting comfortable with the idea that you are the one responsible for your reality. Obviously in life there are many twists and turns, but ultimately if you can adopt the mindset of like everything happens for a reason and I am in control of my own happiness and my own success. Because once you can take responsibility for something, that is when you can really start making some serious shifts in your life, and that is so powerful for self-development and figuring out what you want to do with your life. Once you can break away from that narrative that other things have power over you, that's when you can really step into your own power and really take control over what you do have control over. Once I made that connection, that was when I had a huge mental transformation, and I actually went from being a borderline pessimist to a very optimistic person. And that's when I really started to gain self-discipline, gain self-motivation, learn how to drive myself forward towards reaching the goals that I wanted to reach. And that was a huge step for me. So I highly recommend just really owning up to the fact that you have control over your life. And I know that there are extenuating circumstances, but really just take control over what you have control over is what I'm trying to say. The next thing that I highly recommend is doing morning meditations that specifically focus on visualization. I found this one recently and I will be linking it down below because it was phenomenal. And especially if you are struggling to gain clarity on your bigger vision for your life, this one is so good. And the reason why I recommend this meditation specifically in the morning is because when you first wake up, that is when your mind is the most impressionable. So that is another reason why you really do not want to be going on technology in the morning, like going on your phone. Obviously, if you're going on like your laptop or your iPad or whatever to go on YouTube to do a meditation, that's something different. Obviously, I still do that. But as far as like going on your phone to scroll on social media or check your emails, check whatever you check in the morning, that is immediately flooding your mind with just external noise. Even if it's not like something super big or dramatic or whatever, it's still putting stuff in your mind that is going to give you brain fog. Imagine in the morning you wake up and you are like an empty cup, and as soon as you start doing things, you're kind of gradually filling up the cup. And if you fill your cup right off the bat with social media, you're not going to have any extra space to put what you actually want to put in your cup. So just be really intentional with what you're consuming in the morning, because it is literally going to either contribute to the brain fog or help you gain clarity. So that's why the meditation in the morning is so important. Kind of got a little bit rambly there, but I hope it translated okay. But the key thing about these specific visualizations visualization meditations is that they frequently ask you questions like, what does your home environment look like? What do you feel on a daily basis? What are your emotions? What is your train of thought like? When you wake up in the morning, what is the first thing that you see? What does your natural environment look like around you? Are you in the city? Are you in the mountains? Are you in the woods? Do you live near the beach? What are the types of people that you spend the most time with in your life? What do you do for a living? What are your hobbies? And just it goes into your life in every single aspect. Especially when you're in that kind of like meditative state, you can really start dreaming without limit. Even though I kind of already know what I want to do, whenever I do these visualization meditations, I get even clearer on like the exact specifics of what it is that I'm wanting to attract into my life. And also the benefit of doing a meditation is that it's kind of like daydreaming, but if you don't daydream naturally, meditations are something that you can just like schedule into your day, and it's pretty easy to get into. Whereas like with daydreaming, I feel like you kind of have to be in like a specific mindset. Okay, so the next one is specifically for anyone that is like myself. You are a very tactile learner. You need to like write stuff down to fully comprehend something. I have always been that way, which is why this next practice has been definitely the most transformative practice for myself, and that is journaling. So basically every single like 6 months or so, I do this journaling exercise where you kind of go through every single aspect of life and you write out every single detail that you can think of that would be a part of your dream reality. I like to break this journal entry into 7 different sections, and I also personally like to write this down in present tense so that when eventually you read it back, potentially every morning or every other morning, then it's more affirmative and it's not just like, I want to have this, I want to do this. It's like, I do this, I have this, and that is just very powerful when you're trying to manifest something. I have a couple law of attraction videos on my channel now, so if you are wanting to kind of dive into that rabbit hole, I have some resources for you. So the first journal entry is about your health. What healthy habits do you have? What food are you consuming on a daily basis? What is your workout routine like? What activity do you do to get your body moving? In your perfect ideal scenario, how do you feel physically? And seriously, try to get as specific as possible so that you can really figure out what it is that you want to do for your health, because once you have all of these details written out, you know what you're doing, you know what your goal is, and you can start properly working towards it. The next one is mental, and of course this ties in with your mental health. How do you feel mentally on a daily basis in your ideal scenario? What challenges have you overcome with your mental health? Personally, for me, I definitely struggle with severe anxiety. Fun times, really love that for myself. But in my journals, I always affirm to myself that I'm in control of my mental health, and I am stronger than my anxious thoughts. I am stronger than my anxiety. But it also does tie into your knowledge and how you're expanding your mind on a daily basis. So is it through podcasts? Is it through documentaries? How much are you reading? What types of books are you reading? What type of stuff does your higher self know that you don't know in this current moment? Another key point is, what type of content do you want to be consuming? Would that be reality TV, or would that be inspirational documentaries? Something to think about. Next is career. What is your dream job? This is probably one of the most prominent questions that people battle with throughout their lives, is like, I don't know what I want my career to be. So I highly recommend writing out, say, like 50 different interests that you have and kind of narrow it down, piece together different potential career paths that you could take, and just experiment a little bit. Figure out what it is that feels best for you with the lifestyle that you want to live. And really just think about what you want to be spending your time doing on a daily basis. How much free time do you want to have when you're not working? And I also really think that it's important and also very fun to think about what type of impact do you want to have on the world. Maybe you want to work in environmental science and you want to better help the environment. Maybe you want to be a social media content creator and give people advice on the internet. Really just think about like what you want your greater impact to be on people other than yourself, but also what is going to be the most fulfilling for you long term. The next section is financial. How much money do you need to live the lifestyle that you want to live? Your ideal lifestyle, not the lifestyle that you have currently, but what is your ideal lifestyle, and how much money will you need to supplement that lifestyle for yourself? Do you want to have extra money to put towards investments? Do you want to have extra money to share with the people around you that you really love and care about? Do you want to have extra money to donate? And just overall, what is the level of financial freedom that you want to have in your life? I highly recommend reading You Are Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero, because I know that so many people have a plethora. Sometimes I say words and I'm like, is that English? I know that a lot of people have a whole long list of limiting beliefs surrounding wealth and acquiring money in their lives. And especially with this entry, it is so important to put aside any and all limiting beliefs and just completely put the concept that money is a bad thing in the trash, because that's not going to serve you. You need to dream without limits and really just think, okay, how much money do I want? And what are all the amazing things that I can accomplish when I have money? The next one is environmental. This is everything having to do with the location that you live, as well as what your house looks like. What type of environment are you living in? Are you near the beach? Are you in the mountains? Are you in the woods, in the city? What does your house look like? What does it feel like when you're walking through your house? What does each one of the rooms look like? What does the ground feel like under your feet? And also, when you wake up in this house, what is the first thing that you see? Then the last section for your journal entry is social. What does your social life look like? What type of people are you spending the most time with, and what do their lives look like? Do they have a certain career path? Do they have certain interests that align with your interests? Do they have certain hobbies that they do that you also do? I also want you to think about how you feel when you're around this ideal friend group. What types of emotions do you feel? What morals and values do they have that you also have? Just as humans, it is so natural to be impacted by the people around us, and I'm sure you've all probably heard that quote that you are most like the 5 people that you spend the most time with, and that is so true. And I have firsthand experience about how true that is. Like, I went through a phase where I was not necessarily hanging around with people that were necessarily driven towards something. Then I was spending time with super high value, high energy people that had goals and dreams and ambitions. Those people were able to bring out those qualities in myself. Some key things to look for when you are kind of assessing your circle is if those people that you're around are restricting themselves in any way. Are they weighing down on you in any way? Are they perhaps even criticizing your goals or dreams? This was actually another quote that I saw recently, and it has kind of become a great kind of point for me to assess where I'm at in life, and that is small minds discuss people, average minds discuss events, and great minds discuss ideas. When you look at people that are discussing other people, like aka gossip, they are very low vibrational and they're probably not doing much with their lives. Whereas if you are looking at, say, entrepreneurs, anyone that has ambitions in their lives, they're not talking about other people, they're not gossiping, because they're focused on themselves and their own goals. So what type of crowd do you want to be a part of? It is totally okay to be lonely sometimes. If you are going to distance yourself from someone, just view that extra time that you have as time that you can put towards yourself and bettering yourself, up leveling yourself, learning, growing, just creating the life that you want to create and holding space for new people to come into your life. So the first few times that you do these practices, you might not have a huge revelation where you just gain all of this clarity, but I promise if you stick with them, you're going to get clear on your visions and you're going to figure out what you want. And then you can start the manifesting process, which is just so fun. Definitely recommend my How to Make the Law of Attraction Work Faster video, because that has all of my best manifestation tips. So when you do figure out what it is that you want, definitely check that out. My battery is gonna die. I hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely comment below what your biggest takeaway was. I would love to hear it. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. You can also tick the bell icon to get notified every time I upload a new video. Remember to do something amazing for yourself today, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!
Hold up, baby. I can sit beside you while you're going on about your simple life. Nothing left you thinking that maybe you're not different.